Brindley, and it's Monday. So, I was on my run this morning and I wanted a new podcast. And so I pulled up just some of the most popular ones. And of course, one of the people that I watched from afar, Oprah, her Super Soul Sunday popped up. And a woman named Martha Beck. And I'll put the link in the comments to the book, but she wrote a book. Apparently she's written several books, but her latest one was called The Way of Integrity. And in the podcast, she talked about how she went an entire year. She started when she was 29. She's done it many times since then, but she went an entire year without telling a lie. And so she was very conscious about staying fully in integrity, because integrity, a lot of us think, is doing the right thing when no one's watching, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that's all true. Yet the base word of integrity means one part. You're in one path, you're structurally sound. If you want the integrity of an airplane to be structurally in integrity, then you want a structured airplane, right? That is either it is or it isn't. There isn't two parts to that. It's one part. It's a sound structural plane, right? And so we're all born in full integrity. When we come out of the womb, we are in full integrity. What's fascinating is how nature quickly checks us and we start getting out of integrity by doing things that we really don't want to do. So as kids, we have to, I remember my great grandmother, my grandma Tucker, my grandfather's mother, when you would hug her, she would pound you on the back, like slap you so hard. And I remember telling my mom, I don't want to hug Grandma Tucker when I see her because it hurts. Yet I had to hug Grandma Tucker because it was the right thing to do. And so there's all these things that we start having to do as kids, and as we grow, that society tells us we have to do or we feel obligated to do, and therefore we're no longer in integrity. And so something that came up when she was talking were social white lies. And so I started doing some research around this today. And social white lies are things like going to a dinner when you really don't want to go, calling someone when you really don't want to talk to them, or hearing somebody talk about how sick they are when you really want to tell them, wow, pull up your bootstraps and get to work. Yet you tell them and you feel sorry for them and you pretend like you feel sorry for them, but you really don't feel sorry for them. Those are social white lies. They're things that we feel obligated that we have to do. And what that does is it takes us out of integrity. So I read some studies, and one of them said that the average fib rate, so the average rate in which we tell these little white lies, is 3 white lies for every 10 minutes of conversation. So in every 10 minutes of a conversation with someone, we, on average, will tell 3 white lies. Also, another study said that if we change this and we tell fewer white lies, it starts to reduce our anxiety. It starts to reduce our sadness. It starts to reduce health problems. It starts to reduce negative emotion. And that's because when we're not telling these white lies, then we're in integrity. And when we're in integrity, we're congruent with who we are and we're in harmony. And that's when the magic starts to happen. So, something that I've realized lately, and I'm going to be super vulnerable here, is that I put on a persona that I'm strong. I put on a persona that nothing is wrong and that I've got this. I've lost 40 pounds and I've fasted and I'm running and I'm building a business and I'm doing all of this. And the truth is, guys, inside I am tender. I am soft. I wear my feelings on my shoulders. Those that are close to me will tell you that I care a whole lot about what people think about me. I probably think about that more than what I think about myself. And those are things that I'm working through and I'm processing. And what I've realized is that all of those feelings come from those childhood memories, from those times when I didn't feel good enough, from those times that I didn't feel wanted, or I didn't feel like I was a popular girl, or that the popular girls liked me, or that the boys liked me. All of us are dealing with programming that comes from a very, very deep place. And social white lies can also be the lies that we tell ourselves in order to get people to believe them. And so I'm going to commit to you guys that I'm going to be a little bit more vulnerable and more open with what I'm really feeling and what's really going on in my mind and in my head, because that's my truth. That's where I am right now. I sat on the phone with my therapist for 45 minutes today, unpacking all of it, saying, I have worked so hard on myself. I've done MER, I've done release work, I've done breakthroughs, and yet this still comes up. Why do I still care? Why do people's words still hurt me? And the truth is that it's because it's deep rooted, and it's going to take time, and it takes a continuation of working on myself and not trying to trick myself into thinking that I'm not that way anymore. Instead, leaning into it and feeling it and saying, hey, like, I'm allowed to feel. That's what makes me human. So I challenge you guys this week. If you don't want to go to that party, say no. If you don't want to spend 10 minutes, doing something that you really don't want to do, then don't do it, right? Just for this week, take 10 minutes a day doing something that you love, even though you might think it's silly and a waste of time. This week, say no to one hated obligation. So pick one thing that you feel obligated to do and say no to it. Start checking yourself on the social white lies that you're telling yourself that are taking you out of integrity and are causing more negative emotion than if you were to stay in integrity and be honest. And here's Fred Collis. I will never forget this, and I will quote him because I use it so much. I was so upset when I this was years ago, and I was so upset because I had made this mistake, and I called him, and I was so fearful that he was going to get mad. And he said, Brindley, for the most part, people are reasonable. We just don't allow them to be. So just because you say no doesn't mean that someone's going to hate you. Just because you say no doesn't mean that they're never going to speak to you again. Some actually might respect you even more because you spoke your truth and you set a boundary. So I just challenged you to that this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, just drop in a comment on how it helped you, or maybe drop a comment on the one thing you're going to do this week that is going to stop you from telling social white lies. So we'll see you guys next week. Bye.